Hello, happy Tuesday, April 14th, 2020. Sitting under a tree. It's spring, it's the wood element. For those of you that have heard me talk about it, there's wind, as I'm feeling a little right now. There's a lot of growth, there's expansion. It's the season that coordinates with the liver, and for those of you that know Chinese medicine, you know the liver, the emotion that is associated with it is anger, frustration, sometimes repression. There's like a spectrum of emotion, but it's in that world. And I would guarantee most of you are feeling some of that, and I wouldn't bet that some of you aren't feeling that, particularly in the last week or two. I'm feeling it, which is why I'm on here. So first I want to disclose a few things. One, I'm not a political person. Two, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not someone who is here to try to control anybody's thoughts, or I'm not even here obviously trying to gain any money from anyone. There's not a lot of production value in what I've been doing, since my practice has temporarily closed. And most would say that my business structure really was not out to create money. It was just really to help people the best way I thought possible. So for those of you that really know me or know me well, know that that's kind of how I operate. I don't do things just because I'm told to. That doesn't mean I haven't, but it's generally not the way that I operate. I am motivated by what my heart is telling me, and I'm motivated by what my soul is here to do on the planet. And that may sound very ethereal and out there. I don't know. I don't know what that sounds like to people. What I've realized over at least 30 years of my life is that I sound like a weirdo to a lot of people. And in moments like this, I am so grateful that I've been the weirdo, because I feel really equipped to deal with change. I feel really equipped to deal with insecure amounts of money. I feel really good because I've put a lot of my time and energy into valuing relationships and friendships, and learning how to take care of my physical body, my emotional body, my mental body, and my spiritual body. That's really how I've invested a good part of my life. Because to me, I feel like that's the best tool you can have. Walking through, especially moments like this where we don't know what's up or down. And that's, I believe, on purpose. Like all things in nature, that's what the medicine I practice is based on. There's actions and reactions, but there's a balancing effect. So when something is pushing a certain way, nature's going to push back. And so I usually believe, even when we have disaster, it's very intelligent in trying to help balance out the entire system. And I won't get into all the details of that, because I could be on here for probably 45 minutes, literally. So I'm going to try to keep it focused. But one of the things that I've been noticing that has been little bit frustrating to me, that I've been noticing people doing, is they just quickly assign themselves to a perspective. And I'm so guilty of doing this myself, I am conservative and liberally minded in all different ways. And so depending on what we're talking about, I may swing one way or another, and I've done that, and I've followed very specific presidents. I've definitely probably erred on the side, at least in my later life, more with the liberal side of things, but quite frankly, I find the entire structure to be very destructive to humanity. As time has gone by, as someone who's practiced a medicine that has been really hushed, it's been kept, let's call it, under the covers. I mean, I don't know how many people I've treated that have said, why have we not known more about acupuncture when it's been around, 3,000 to 5,000 years? Why would we not use all the resources we can to support people that are not expensive? And my answer usually is because it's not expensive and it doesn't make a lot of people money. And I think that's the big thing we need to be looking at right now. That's like the bigger enemy. Like this virus, I believe, is trying to show us that there's a lot of people who have things vested in things that provide them money, regardless of their profession. I know doctors that most of them are trained to be pharmacologists, which means they have most of their knowledge and their expertise gets overtaken by becoming a prescriber. And that's not always their fault. I think a lot of doctors actually go into medicine because they really want to help people, or they have a brain that actually is interested in how the body works and helping it. I believe in Western medicine as much as I do Eastern. However, I don't really love what our culture has done with it. So growing up, going backwards a little bit, I'm a person who always wants to understand more. I love puzzles. I love understanding why something is the way that it is. I don't usually just accept things at face value. I want to know the motivation. I've been an introvert growing up because I wanted to understand what was behind someone before I brought them close to me, not knowing, what motivated them, were they kind to people or were they not, were they, I don't know, like as a kid, you just think about all the things we, deal with, like with social situations that can be pretty tough. Anyway, I'm digressing. I just wanted to basically say, though, I've been a person who has spent a good part of my life trying to look under the hood, trying to understand why, when we are given this God-given planet full of resources and wisdom, and like we've always been provided for, and we've been designed beautifully to work with it. And yet, as a culture, we have gotten so caught up in capitalizing on whatever we can, and to the point where we've been ignoring the wisdom that's right here around us every day. So even when we have a big storm or when we have a big fire, it's really hard to witness. It's hard to experience. It's scary. Like, I won't take any of that away. But it provides new growth. It provides evolution. It provides more opportunity to be more creative in the way that we do things. And we're here again, and this is not only is this happening in one area, it's happening across the globe. So I find it to be particularly important that we don't just take this and keep doing what we always do, which is to make polar decisions and just jump on bandwagons and not stop and listen to the wisdom that's trying to come to us. We have these brains and we have these souls and we have this intuition and we have the ability to feel things and experience things in so many ways that we don't allow ourselves to. And what I love about Chinese medicine is it's fundamental, it's about rhythms. It's about seasons. There's a season for things and there's a season maybe you don't do those things because it's a way of keeping you balanced. It's a way of keeping nature balanced. And when things work like that and are harmonious, it's beautiful. That's why we see every spring, it's the product of all the seasons before it. So in spring, we're really here to grow. We need to move forward. We need to move beyond the season before. There's something more our souls are looking to experience. Every season you'll know, like maybe you planted some seeds that, the next year you don't see a whole lot, and then the next year you see something else, and then the following year you see something else. That's the evolution of the life of that plant. I mean, if it's something that's meant to be coming back every year. And it doesn't always make sense. It doesn't always make sense, but it's beautifully perfect, even if we don't understand it. So what I've been noticing is that people are not listening to their own wisdom. They're listening to a lot of things outside of themselves. They're reading articles about this person or that person, and obviously there's so many people that can't stand our president, and there's so many people who will stand by our president no matter what. And I caution all of you to be doing either of those things. We need to be asking questions about things. Why are we making the decisions we're making? Why are we not hearing from more than one person? Why is it just one doctor or two doctors we're listening to when we have a country full of experts that we could be pulling expertise from, or having panels that are there for people to understand? And as a country where there's a little bit more transparency, so that we feel a little more included in the decisions that are being made. When I say that, I mean, I watched, someone sent me a part of a George Carlin stand-up skit. If you need to this is not an old or new conversation. This conversation I'm having is really old. And if you need to see that, just watch some George Carlin. I encourage it. It'll make you laugh and maybe cry at the same time when you realize we're still doing the same things over and over again. But this transition we're going through is so that we awaken, so that we remember who we are, that we remember that we're here because of our ancestors, and our ancestors are trying to work with us right now. And I don't expect anyone or all people to understand what that actually means, and you don't need to understand. But there's parts of our nervous system that come from those ancestors that are getting triggered because of the experiences they've had. So whether that's ancestors that have been through the Great Depression or the Holocaust or, Vietnam or different wars or, just different period, like different shortages, like that happened. We have some of them inside of us that gets triggered in moments like this memory system. And we have their great wisdom to work with if we allow ourselves to be guided. But that means you need to shut off all the noise in all the people that are trying to give you information that are vested in themselves, not necessarily humanity. So I'm bringing that up why I say I'm not political, because this is not a political conversation. What I'm saying is we gotta rise above throwing darts at a president or a particular member of Congress or the Senate. What we have to do is put the whole darn thing up on a stage and say, we're not moving until you answer our questions. Because they're all involved. They spend most of their time just rallying to get another seat every year. I mean, I'm not saying that some of them don't have good, intentions, but we need to find them, and we need to be questioning everybody more. We need to be questioning why we are doing what we are doing more. Why do I get up and feel the need to be productive? Why do I only feel value when something gets accomplished? Like that's not what God intended for us, or nature intended for us. That's my belief. I won't put that on you, but I seriously don't think we were put here to basically be entranced on treadmills. I really don't. And that's been one of the hardest parts, particularly moving back to the East Coast, is just realizing that people are more on a treadmill than I've ever seen them before. And they are spending more of their time just sitting on social media, getting more and more entranced and getting more and more polar. And I've had so many conversations with so many people about it, and they just, they can't help themselves. And I get it. They're angry. They don't know what to do with themselves. What I'm telling you is you got to stop going there with it. It's as destructive as those people up there. You're just feeding the fire they want you to feed. They want you to put them against each other so they can keep passing things and pushing things that really have nothing to do with us. We are the people. We are the people. We have the opportunity right now to take back some control over how we operate. And that starts with remembering we have that power, individually and collectively. And that means we all need to do that work personally. And we need to start talking to each other, and we need to be challenging each other in different ways, not pointing fingers, but saying, I want to have a conversation with you about that. I want to understand where you're coming from. Can we pull that apart a little bit? I want to better understand. And I can guarantee you we're all going to have different friends at the end of all this. Because certain behaviors and certain consumption is not going to be acceptable to some of us anymore. Just as a couple examples, I am not a person who really has had a real appetite for watching a lot of famous people. I never was into reality TV. I mean, I'm really not even into TV, to be honest with you. I watch Grey's Anatomy is the only thing I've actually watched, I think, consistently for the last 10 years. And I'm not a consumer. I have the same clothes I've had for probably 10 years, and what I've gained over between here and there mostly has been hand-me-downs from friends and family, and it's because I just don't really want to feed a system of consumption. It doesn't feel good to me, and so I don't do it, and I don't really care what people think about it. I know people think I should look a certain way as a business owner or be a certain way as a lead, I don't know, whatever, as someone who's getting on here. Obviously, I'm not spending a lot of time. This is here, there's nothing, it ain't pretty people right now. I'm not trying to bring in a lot of production value. I'm not vested that way. If anything, I've really enjoyed walking around and seeing people with their hair all messed up and just not caring and being vulnerable and, us just taking things down a notch, the expectations we have of each other. So anyway, I'm again digressing. I just really think it's important that we all take some time to really question why we think the way we do. Why do we move and jump from supporting one person to the next so quickly, as we're about to watch everybody who was baby Bernie supporters, now they're all going to jump and, support Biden. Like, so whatever. You're going to do what you're going to do. I'm not saying there's a right answer, but what I am saying is right now, while we're all home and we have time, we could be challenging the entire system a whole lot more so that when we get to those ballots, provided they even are accurate and people really have a fair opportunity to vote, which really these are the things we should be talking about right now and not, just, whatever, posting a bunch of articles about the same thing over and over again. We should be coming together and coming up with better systems. We should be coming together and saying we will not keep working for corporations that don't treat people right. We are not going to keep supporting systems, and certain large corporations, which I won't even bother naming, them, that are destroying the small business. What we don't remember is that if small business gets wiped out, we lose a lot of our ability to have choice. And that's what this country is about. We are the people. We are the ones we're waiting for, not some elected official or someone who's been in the system. We are the people. All right, I'm going to get off the box and I'm going to go finish my walk and I'm going to try to get my face in the sun. Wishing you well. Please talk to each other. Please meditate. Please try and get quiet. Shut the screens off when you can. I'm as guilty as anyone. It's really hard right now. I get it. But you've got to make time for that. It's like vital, in my opinion, because if you lose the opportunity to know who you are, you're just gonna walk into another life you don't want, and I wouldn't want that for you. So, all right, peace out, people. Happy Tuesday.